Hi, I'm Bryant Mack. I've been flying for about 13 years now. I'm 23 years old. So basically what got me into flying, what started me, was my dad used to fly pattern way back in the 80s. And then when he had me, once I was kind of old enough, he started to get me into flying, taught me how to fly. So what I've always flown JR products, I've always liked JR products, but what continues to keep me interested in them and flying them is that they're so precise. Everything always works. The customer service, I mean, just everything about the company, I couldn't ask for anything better. In my opinion, it is the best equipment out there, no doubt about it. So I would have to say my most memorable event or contest would be the 2019 Tucson Shootout. I ended up winning an invitational, which is like just insane. Still to this day, it blows my mind. Like, that's basically what got me in the flying competition in general. I went down there in 2009 and just saw it before I was ever competing, and just, it's crazy. So, particularly memorable plane. When I first started flying IMAC, I had a 35% AeroWorks 260 that I flew for years and years, and I logged over 3,000 flights on the airframe, so there's definitely a lot of memories there. Pilots that I looked up to, specifically what got me interested in freestyle is Yuri Higuchi flies at my local field, and I remember watching him practice for XFC and other competitions and just being blown away by the things he was doing. It was just incredible. Any advice for beginners? Definitely get a simulator. The simulator helps a lot. Definitely helps get concepts down, and just never give up. Just keep trying at it. So I've been flying for about 13 years now. When I started, I was about 8-ish years old, but I didn't really start flying a lot till I was about 10. So other hobbies aside from RC flying, I like to ride dirt bikes. I'm in the cars, just anything with a motor, basically motor and wheels. I like it. How often do I go flying? It depends. During the summer in Phoenix, it gets pretty hot, but we usually fly just about every weekend throughout the year, just depending on the season. Do I prefer left to right or right to left? I don't really have much of a preference, no. It kind of depends on the wind. And my favorite place to fly, I would have to say I only got to fly there twice, but Clover Creek Aerodrome was just incredible. The grass and everything was just amazing. New equipment gear that I would like to see in the future. I can't even imagine, you guys. I mean, JR's already, this stuff's so incredible. I can't even imagine what Tomohisa is going to come up with next. I really don't know.
I wonder what you got, you rascal, you. I wonder what you got, makes my wife think you so hot. And I wonder what you got, you rascal, you. cut your ears off to you rascals, you. I'ma cut your ears off too, and something else that belongs to you. I'ma cut your ears off too, you rascals, you. I'll be glad when you dead, you rascals. I'll be glad when you dead, you rascals, you. Now don't think I'm telling a story, cause if I don't see this glory, I'll be glad when you're gone, you rascals, you.
My name is Cayden Bruce. I'm 17 years old. So when I started flying about when I was 6 years old, both sides of my family were into it. My dad and my mom's dad both had RC airplanes, and I was kind of destined to be into it, honestly, because they both had that. So JR products, the innovation that they have is unmatched by any other company, honestly, in my opinion. The 2018 Worlds would probably be my most memorable contest. Yeah. The one I'm flying right now, the plane, Extreme Flight 104-inch V2. Spencer Nordquist is definitely somebody I would look up to. Yeah. Get a simulator. If you're gonna start flying, get a simulator for sure. I've been flying for about 11 years now. I started when I was about 5 or 6 years old, so. My dad and I ride motorcycles as a separate hobby. We try to go out about every weekend, but the past year or so has been really busy. We lost our flying field, so. I like flying right to left, over left to right. Honestly, the AMA headquarters in Muncie, Indiana is a really great facility. That's probably my favorite place to fly. I think you guys are already coming out with it. You're working on it right now. Touchscreen radios. That would be something I'd like to see in the future.
Check. All right, all pilots, please make their way down the front and center just for a quick, brief pilots meeting and an update with a raffle and all that good stuff. So all pilots, please come down.
I started flying as a bonding thing for me and my grandpa to do. I started at a young age. I was able to start at 3 years old because of him. What I like about JR is that their support for the hobby at all aspects and their innovativeness to come out with new products every day. My most memorable contest was my first Tucson aerobatic shootout. Probably my Cayden Pro, because it really taught me all the skills I have today with model aviation. I look up to any pilot that I can learn any new skills of any kind from. Realistically, there's no particular pilot. Just do it. Go out, have a good time. I've been flying model aviation for 24 years. I started at the age of 3. Outside of RC hobbies, I work on cars, anything mechanical. I just enjoy taking things apart and putting it back together. I try to fly 2 to 3 times a week. I don't have a preference on direction. Any direction that's in the air, I'll fly it. No favorite place at all. Anywhere that I can fly, I will be there. That's another one I gotta think about. I'm willing to play with anything that comes out, to be honest. Anything to do with the hobby, you've got my interest.
I'm Spencer Nordquist. I have been flying for 16 years now, and I fly for Team JR. And we're out here having an event and doing some fun flying. I got started in flying at about 6 years old. We started flying electrics at a school, like a GWS slow stick, small electric cheap plane, and that kind of went from there. It gets expensive after that, but that's pretty much how I started. The JR products are really consistent. All the electronics and all the accessories that they have work all the time, which is what you need. And I really enjoy the 12-volt setup for the 2K servos. They work really well and haven't had any issues yet, so happy with it. Okay, so the most memorable event that I had was probably, let's say, 2014 XFC. One of my first like contentions in a big event, and had a lot of pitfalls, like some crashes and whatnot, and it was just a really fun experience and getting to compete with some of the biggest names in RC. The most memorable plane that I've flown, probably this little RC trainer in South America with a streamer on it, and we had other trainers chasing it around, like follow the leader type thing. And I always remember flying that because it's just such a weird thing to fly. I looked up to a lot of pilots. When I was little, I looked up to, like Bill Hempel, Jason Schulman, Chip Hyde. And then as I started getting into contests, I started looking up to like Gabriel Altus and Kyle Hoisted and those pilots. My advice for beginners is just kind of have fun with it for a while and just like do what you like to do. Don't like chase anything super huge like sponsorships. Just have fun with it and just get used to flying. Have fun with your friends. I've been flying for 16 years now, quite a long time, and yeah, it's been a crazy adventure. When did I start? You got this? Hold on. The assistance. Isn't that the same question? Besides RC, I'm into like real cars, like drifting, automotive stuff, and then some other things like we build like some scooters and gadgets. Not as often as I would like, but it's just because many hobbies at the same time. So I prefer flying left to right because I'm right-handed. So flying from the left gives me some diversity. Yeah, favorite place to fly. There's a place in Arizona that's like a big dirt lot. You can do whatever you want, and I like flying out there. No rules. Gear that I would like to see in the future. Probably some crazy helicopters or something. Spice it up a little bit.
Calling. Say hello, judges. S3S. Carl Hines. your first time flying F3S, right? What do you like it?
And we had to have music. I mean, you wouldn't want things to get really serious. So just to keep everybody awake, I asked a couple of the boys to outside my window, he's been there for days. And now it's only gotten on to Sunday, and I think it's time to play. 'Cause there is nothing more that I like than to be seen. Open up your eyes, real wide, 'cause peeping Tom, I got a big surprise. So I slide across my hood, and what do I see? Sure as hell, the peeping Tom is looking at me. So I simply accidentally, carelessly, put my dress down for him to see. So peeping Tom, keep on looking at me. Peeping Tom, tell me, what do you see? 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 Anything can happen. Watch.
Hey, I'm Tanner Curtis, and I'm representing JR PROPO. I got started in flying RC when my dad brought me into a hobby shop. The thing I like most about JR products is just how they make the airplane feel. There's no better feeling out there. The connection is absolutely rock solid. I would say my most memorable event I've ever been to was the first one in 2014. It's where I got hooked in the giant scale airplanes. Favorite airplane that I ever flown was probably a buddy's airplane. It's a scratch-built 54% Edge by 40. Pilots I look up to was probably Andrew Jeske. All my friends here on Team JR, I really aspire to try to be like them. My best advice for beginners is definitely seek out a local hobby shop and seek out a local club. You can't go wrong doing that. It's the best way to have success. I've been flying for about 22 years now. Started flying airplanes about 22 some odd years ago. Dad brought me into hobby shop. I was hooked, and we made our way out to a local club. I like doing off-roading. I like playing with motorsports, side-by-side GTVs, motorcycles. My favorite things outside RC. I fly every single opportunity I get, several times a week. As far as flying left to right or right to left, I don't really have a preference. I just practice in both directions, so I'm comfortable no matter what. Favorite place to fly? Definitely my local club, Tucson Radio Control Club. New gear and equipment I'd like to see in the future from JR. Just keep building awesome transmitters. I really like a cool modern touchscreen transmitter. That'd be awesome.
about a 7.
In 3/4 of a mile, keep right onto Jeff Fuqua Boulevard towards State Road 417.
Welcome to Florida Jets 2021.
Yeah. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Michael?
Hey, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Pretty good.
How you been?
It's been a while. Huh?
Been a while, yeah, man.
Hey guys, all right. Whoa. Good to see you again. Hola, konnichiwa, hello, all of the above.
Good morning.
Hello, Mom. Hey, buddy.
pilots to do that. Hi, my name is Ian. I'm a Team JR PROPO pilot. So how I got started flying was I found stuff online about flying, and that kind of just sparked my passion for it. So my goal is to become an actual pilot. So I thought the closest thing when I was younger to flying was to fly RC airplanes, and that's how it kind of got kicked off for me. I like JR products because they create a feel between you and the plane that I've never felt in anything else, like Brand X or anything else. So. Probably my most memorable event is when I went to the Tucson shootout and won first place in sportsman there, and I won an airplane there. Probably my most memorable plane that I've ever flown is a Shrike Aero Commander, a UMX size plane. That plane just had such interesting characteristics, and I was able to do actually tumbles with it. When I first started flying competition, I never really looked up to any pilots or anything, especially for freestyle. But for IMAC, I kind of looked up to some of the unlimited pilots, but I never really had like a particular person that I looked up to. Probably my best advice for beginners would be to keep at it, or never get discouraged for something. Or like, so say you're at the field and your plane broke, then don't get discouraged by it, because there's other guys that have the same issues as you. So. I've been flying giant scale airplanes for probably almost 3 years now, and I've been flying generally for probably 4 years. The first plane that I got was in 2017. It was a Hobby Zone Super Cub, one of the little ultra micros. Some of my other hobbies that I do besides flying would be surfing, and a sport that I participate in is wrestling. I try to go every weekend, but sometimes I have work, so yeah. Out of both of them, I'd probably prefer flying to the right, because that's what I started out flying, but I definitely fly to the left as well too. Probably my favorite place to fly is the current field that I go to, which is Riverside Radio Control Club in Riverside, California, and I like that field because it's a very small club, but it has a long runway and is in farm fields, so it's basically open for miles, which is what I enjoy for IMAC. I'd definitely like to see the new radio that Jared's going to come out with. I'm excited to see that. But other than that, probably just keep pushing out the new radios and servos.
is Richard Keppel. I've been flying radio-controlled airplanes since 1974. I've been flying JR radios since the early 1980s, about shortly after they came into the country. I got started in flying, well, as a very small child. My father would take us to fly little stick models, and then got into stick and tissue airplanes through him and control line, and then by 1974 I was flying RC, and 1976 RC helicopters. Why I like JR products, the precision, the build quality, the longevity, the track record, and absolutely the performance. I've flown a lot of radios in the last 46 years, and there is nothing close. Let's see, my most memorable event or contest, I went to the Nationals in 1984 for helicopters, so that's probably it. I like the JR Forza line of helicopters. I have the 450, I have the 700. I like the Taro steam models, and I like they're out of business now, but I very much still like the Compass models. Those are wonderful. As far as pilots that I like and look up to, Marty Coons, J.C. Zankel, Rob Hamilton, Robert Gorham, those guys are at the top of the list as far as I'm concerned. I would say start with the best radio equipment that you can afford. Don't get the cheapest radio you can get. Don't get the cheapest servos you can get. The old adage of buy cheap, buy twice is true. The quality of your experience will be directly proportional to the quality of the radio equipment. And of course I would suggest JR. I've been flying for RC for about 46 years. 47, I guess, technically. Aside from radio control models, I have an antique car. I've got a 1940 Ford sedan that I've had since 1975. Stationary steam engines, model trains, the Lionel MTH type, and antique phonographs of all things. My favorite place to fly is right here at Whittier Narrows. I would like to see a bit more integration with the JR Tags Mini with the transmitter. It's already got quite a bit. I'd like to see it go the rest of the way, and I'm really looking forward to the next generation of top-of-the-line JR radio, the successor to the 28X, which I believe will be the T64.
Number one, there's rattlesnakes around here. Please be careful.
Until I first met you, I was lonesome. And when you came inside, dear, my heart grew light, and this whole world seemed new to me. You're really swell, I have to admit you deserve expressions that really fit you. And so I've racked my brain, hoping to explain all the things that you did to me. Amir Shane, please let me explain. Amir Shane means you're grand. Amir Shane, again I'll explain. It means you're the fairest in the land. It means you're the fairest. It means you're the fairest. It means you're the fairest in the land. It means you're the which only helps me tell you how grand you are. I've tried to explain, for me is this a shame, so kiss me, I say that you will understand.
Hi, I'm Quenette and I'm a Team JR pilot. Why did I get into flying? Ever since I was a kid, me and my dad always loved airplanes in general, and one day we just stumbled upon the RC field and that's where it all started. About JR, obviously reliability, the product. We have many different servos, receivers to choose from, so we can really kind of tailor our setup to what we like to do and how we want to fly. Ooh, most memorable contest. Probably the Bakersfield contest and shootout. Every year it's more than just a competition, it's about having all your friends and everyone that you know in the hobby over there with you. Plane. Probably my first plane. I think it's sentimental to everyone. It was a little, it's called Banana, kind of a weird name, but it had a little Cox 0.049 motor and it was loud and it was just, it's a different experience when you don't know any better. It's definitely more fun. Out of pilots I looked up to, living in Israel, we always looked into a lot of American pilots. A lot of them were like Chip Hyde, Kike Somanzini, Jason Schulman, pretty much a lot of the OGs of the hobby, and then from there it kind of escalated to Mark Leesburg and a lot of the new generation. Advice for beginners. I would say keep it fun, enjoy it, good or bad, just have fun with it. This is what it's meant for. I've been flying for 21 years now, ever since I was 10 years old. Started when I was 10 and pretty much haven't stopped since. Hobbies aside from flying. I'd say probably building, guns, and pretty much just home life, just hanging out with the family and staying around the house. It's nice and relaxing. Often, probably almost every weekend. If the weather is nice, I'm usually out at the field Saturday, Sunday, sometimes even more if I can. Flying. I think left to right probably. That's just what I started with. Then I learned how to fly. That's just the only direction they would let us go. Favorite place to fly? There's nothing like home field. Just, you know everyone. Everyone that you learn to fly with is there. That's probably the best place to fly. New stuff I would like to see in the hobby. I would say we pretty much have everything we need. Obviously radios could always get better, servos could always get better, but I feel like we're already on top of the market and ahead of everything that everyone else has offered, so can't say I'm not happy.
am Matt Stringer. Actually, it was like after I stopped racing motocross when I was like 12. It was kind of on the way out. Mom was a little bit concerned about me hurting myself, so I drove by the park one day, saw these guys flying some foam planes, went over there, they put me on a buddy box, and I was hooked from there. What do you like JR PROPO products? Yeah, so I started flying JR, stayed with them for a long time, deviated a tiny bit, but came back when we came back in a good prominent reboot. But yeah, X-Bus is probably like by far the biggest game changer for me. You know, just being able to set up the plane on the servos and then be able to plug them in anywhere just makes setups on these giant scale planes such a breeze. And then you can really feel the difference on your response time, you know, when you're doing X-Bus as opposed to PWM. All the signals transfer at once instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it makes a huge difference in competitions. Yeah, I mean, like when I came in, you know, I had heard of all the big names from the TOC days, you know, like Mike McConville, Chip Hyde, CPLR. So definitely Christoph, mainly because my first IMAC plane was a ZN line, so I was pretty fond of his design skills. But yeah, Mark Leesburg, Andrew Jeske, you know, there's a lot of big names when I was coming into the scene. Start off with a plane that actually has all control surfaces. Don't go for the dumbed down ones, definitely go for ailerons, elevator, rudder. E-Flight's got some great stuff nowadays. It's back then, like when I started, you had to go on a buddy box or crash, so definitely any of those UMX lines. I mean, you can fly them in your front yard. They're pretty fun, so I'd recommend those. I've been flying since I was 11, competing since I was 13, and I'm 26 now, so do the math. I play guitar, classical, electric, you know, metal. But I've been playing that almost as long as I've been flying. And then skateboarding, surfing, yeah, all the above. Not as much as I'd like to. My closest flying field is a tiny bit far away. It's about an hour and 30-minute drive, so I usually make a whole weekend out of it. But I try and get out like once or twice a month. It's always right to left for me, left to right to East Coast thing, but I'll switch left to right at the shootout if needed. Well, Miss Tina sold Clover Creek. That was probably one of the coolest places to fly that I've ever been to, besides Triple Tree. But I'd have to say the Bear Mountain Flyers up in Bakersfield. It's my home field. It's probably one of the nicest flying fields here in Southern California, or California for that matter. So.
I started flying because my dad used to fly before I was even born, and then he stopped for a little while, but then once he started again, I started going out with him into the field, and he taught me how to fly. The quality and just the overall feel of how good the servos and the radio system is. So it's definitely a much more locked-in feel, and they have the best amount of torque and the highest speed out of anything out there, so you get a really nice crisp response out of the whole setup. My most memorable event is probably the Tucson shootout. I believe it was 2019. I won the unlimited shootout, so that was really memorable for me. Probably my first 100cc airplane. I got it and I immediately tried to recover it. Took me the whole summer, so didn't get to fly much that year, but it was really memorable because first plane that I really worked on. Yeah, I look up to, when I was little, I used to look up to a lot of the, original pilots I used to be flying, so, I would always go and watch the videos and all that stuff of all the flights that were going on at the big events, so, like Andrew Jeske, and a lot of those guys, but these guys as well. So like even Spencer and Bryant, I've been watching them fly since before I was even competing. So I've looked up to them before too. Keep practicing. It's all practice. What level of varsity you want to get. So most of us start with just flying for fun, and we keep going a little bit further, but it's all practice. I've been flying for about 14 years now. I believe I was about 11 or 12, but I have been going to the field since I was about 10, so I've been around RC for part of my life. Hobbies aside from flying, into cars. How often you go flying? I try usually about once a week, but depends how busy I am. So also coming up to a big event, I'll also go out a lot more times. I'll try and go out 2 to 3 times a week if I can, if it's a really big event coming up. Horizontally. I actually like flying in really cool and weird places, so I feel that it makes really good content and really interesting to fly. So usually in areas that a lot of people wouldn't really fly, it's probably my favorite. See in the future? Not exactly. I think we're going in a really good direction with all the new products that we have coming out. So I believe the main thing is that we're going in the direction of making it more user-friendly and beginner-friendly. So we're making it a lot more simple for the setup to be perfect out of the box rather than having to have a lot of experience in it.